Good morning from Cornwall. It feels so good. So we're staying at my parents' for 2 weeks, doing a bit of dog sitting. The feeling of having, well, one garage would be enough. I just need a classic car in there, but twin garage. Just walk down from the garden, open up the garage, and just the bike parked up there. I cannot tell you how good a feeling it is. We've waited for this day. Blue sky. Feels like it's 16 degrees. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's just perfect. Right, I've got a plan for today. Really, I'm excited for this. We're going to visit, just 15 minutes away, an 800-year-old pub, tucked away all by itself down a creek. It's got a fascinating history, and it is, for the food, multi-award-winning. I haven't really had a breakfast, so I'm going to be racing there because I'm famished. Right, let's hit the road on the Harley Davidson Fat Bob. The last time I actually rode it was a couple of days ago now when I got to Cornwall. So let's see how it is on these tight Cornish lanes. And we will, of course, take you along with us. I mean, soak this in because you never know with Cornwall, the weather's so changeable. This could be the only day like this with sky this blue. I mean, this is what's Cornwall at its finest. Oh, the drive here is an event in itself. It feels like you've got the roads to yourselves and you're riding along almost in a time before cars. Just empty country lanes with no road markings at all, nothing coming either way, and you keep going and you wonder, is there going to be any development at all that you're going to end up getting to? From Google Maps, it looks like there is literally just one pub somewhere down here and maybe a couple of houses dotted around. It's not even a village. So, I mean, just look at how nice this is. You can see houses on the other side of the water, but the creek we need to get to is this side, our side of the water. But have a look at this stretch of houses here, and there's water either side of the houses. They look like they are classic second homes for celebrities or very, very well-to-do people. They are stunningly nice looking houses. So we've got about 4 more minutes to go, and this road goes nowhere apart from the pub. It's literally a road to a pub and maybe 2 houses. All this road here. You know, on a day like today, Cornwall is very, very close to impossible to beat. Oh, it's amazing. The Pandora Inn, 800 years old. It's got the best story for a name. So, in 1787, there was a ship called the Bounty, and this was a ship that was heading off to the likes of Timor, and it was a ship heading off to go and, I think, find something like breadfruit, new fruits from around the world. That headed off in 1787, but a couple of years after that, there was a mutiny on the ship while at sea, and the captain of the ship, he was, in essence, kicked off the ship, and the rest of the crew headed off on their jolly way. It took the captain of the ship a good year or so to actually finally somehow manage to make it back to England shipless. When he got back and the Navy heard about this, they immediately said, right, that's it, Captain Edwards, you are heading off and you're going to go and find these mutineers, you're going to bring them back and we're going to punish them. So Captain Edwards, in 1790 or so, he headed off on a ship called the Pandora. He headed off, tried to find these mutineers, but his ship, the Pandora, got shipwrecked on the Great Barrier Reef. Over half the crew died, and it took Captain Edwards months and months to actually make it back. Somehow he managed to not only survive the shipwreck, but make it back to England. But that whole ordeal, all of the travel, of course the lack of food, everything that goes around being shipwrecked, affected him for the rest of his life. Once he finally managed to get back to England, he was court-martialed in England for probably gross negligence, for wrecking an incredibly valuable ship. He had so many people backing him, so many former captains of ships, saying basically, no, we vouch for Captain Edwards, he should not be court-martialed, he should not be found guilty of negligence, that he was let off and he was pardoned. Rumour, legend, whatever you want to call it, has it that after he retired from the Navy, Captain Edwards bought and owned this very pub. And in honour of the Pandora ship, he decided to change the name of this pub to the Pandora. This is where the story gets wrapped up. This is a replica of the Pandora ship made in the year 1795. So just about 20 years after the actual Pandora ship was built. However, some years ago, the owner of this pub ended up selling this ship. So this ship, although it spent most of its life here in the pub for about 40 years, it left the pub and entered a private collection. However, the person that used to own this ship ended up feeling bad and thought, no, you know what? The proper resting place of this model ship of their Pandora should be right here in the Pandora Inn. So after 40 years absence from the pub, there it is, pride of place, 1795 model of the Pandora ship. One more thing, just before I go in order. Monika's staring daggers at me because we're both starving, but have a listen to how fascinating the lives are of the people that used to live around this time. So Captain Edwards, he was in, listen to the wars that he served in, the 7 Years' War, the American Revolutionary War, the Battle of St. Lucia, and also the French Revolutionary War. It's a miracle that anyone ended up living beyond the age of 40 back then. Well, that was incredible. The Pandora Inn, it's multi award-winning pub. So it is no secret. It's also not cheap. It's £19 for one meal. But when you take everything into account, the exquisite first-class food, the brilliant service, the breathtaking location. This is the jetty out here, and I think we'll get a coffee to wrap up the video in 20 minutes. But when you take everything into account, it's completely worth it, because the experience, all of it, everything that goes into the meal, the coffee, the beer, whatever you have, it is so worthwhile. Very, very special place. We're now just following the lane down, hugging along the waterfront, because I think there's a path that just goes over to the next cove. So I'm curious to see what it's like there, and then we'll head back to the bike and head off home. Most of the houses here seem to have a good sized plot of land, and then the other side of the road, they all seem to, or 80% of them seem to have their own little jetty areas where they can either have a boat or some kind of garden the other side of the road. Have a look at this one. Bear in mind, this is, I would say, close to prime Cornish real estate here. It's very rare to see something like this. I mean, how many decades has this been abandoned for? I won't show the address, but there's a little post box here full of old energy bills that have clearly been left here for a very long time. And it's just a one-story, a bungalow with a green door and green windows. But it's been completely overtaken by ivy. And it's on a massive plot of land too. Why would someone leave a house with this amazing plot facing the waterfront, near enough frontline view? Why would they leave it abandoned like that? In fact, you know what? Oh, I'd give anything to go in. I've just noticed this front door here is open, and there's a shelving, well, not shelving unit, there are shelves nailed to the wall, and it looks like, if I'm right, books are still actually in there on that little shelving unit. You have no idea how tempted I am just to squeeze myself through this fence and take a look inside. It's not technically surely breaking and entering if I don't have to jimmy open the door. I can't do it, but I'm so tempted. Almost get a little bit seasick on this. We're right on the jetty, so the pub's over there. Just have a look at this. The window on the far right-hand side, you can just see it's drooped down to the right-hand side. And imagine that pub is 800 years old. It used to be an old farm before it was a pub, but just imagine the things it must have seen. The smugglers discussing things inside those walls. Oh, the stories it must have. And all of these bits here, so the chains that you see either side, I didn't initially know what they were, but these are little jetty areas for different boats to pull up in. So all the time we've been sitting here, we've been seeing boats coming and going, pulling up, mooring up, then walking in, grabbing a pint, grabbing some food. Entry via land or sea. It's an amazing place, and this is what makes the Cornish coastline so nice. There are so many different coves. It's not one really long stretch of beach. There are just coves and inlets going all the way around. So it's so amazing for exploring. I think I'm going to have to maybe buy a little boat, do some cove exploring. It's amazing. This really is. I mean, this is no question at all. This is Cornwall at its very, very finest. I mean, have a look at the coffee. Just before I wrap it up. That is barista level coffee being served at a pub. I'm blown away. Okay, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along. Have a brilliant week all, and we'll see you all in the next one.